Hi everyone, welcome back to Art with Mrs. S. In our previous video, we drew a leaf of some form, and I outlined it really heavy and dark with a black crayon. Today we're going to be adding color. I'm going to be using watercolor paint, but if you would like to use something else, if you don't have watercolor, you can use a different kind of paint. You can use crayon, marker, colored pencil, whatever you have handy. And I'm going to be using warm and cool colors today. So my warm colors here really remind you of fall or something like fire or lava. We have red, orange, and yellow are my warm colors. And I'm also going to need at least 3, maybe 2 cool colors. Green, blue, and purple. So a little calmer, a little cooler, more like our winter colors. We're going to look at our warm colors first. So I'm going to get set up to paint. I have a tray to put my water in. That way if I accidentally spill this, my cup's good to go. This is just a plastic cup. You could use a recycled container or Tupperware as well. And then I also have my paintbrush that came with my paint palette. This is just a basic paint palette. You can find these around town at Dollar Tree, a craft store, Walmart, you name it, you can find them just about anywhere. So my watercolors have a nice variety. I also have my warm and cool colors, and then black and brown. Let me open this up. I'm going to be painting warm colors inside of my leaf and cool colors outside of the leaf. I'll kind of leave my warm colors over here so you can see them. To get started, I always add water to my brush. I always keep my cup in my tray, that way if I spill it, it's good. I'm not being really too rough on the brush, just getting it really, really saturated. Let's start out with red today. Not pressing too hard, just kind of getting that paint ready to go. And once I have enough on my brush, I can start painting the inside of my leaf. What I see students do a lot is once your brush starts kind of running out of paint, it looks like, instead of pressing harder or hitting your brush to make paint magically appear, you need to get more water. So we're going to dip that brush right back there in the water and then go back over and still using that same color. Do that. You do have to get your brush wet quite a bit with these little ones. That same pattern. Dip in the water, get more paint. I'm good to go. Unless I'm changing colors, I don't want to keep putting my brush in water over and over again. I want to make sure all that paint is off the brush before I put in the water. I'm just cleaning it off and wasting it. We really don't want to waste our paint. We want to take good care of it. You've also noticed once I get enough water in my paint palette, I really don't need to keep dipping it in the water because that'll make my paint too runny or too gooey. Now you can do more of a pattern inside of your leaf. If you want to do each section a different color, you could do one side one color and then switch. I'm going to do kind of more of a tie-dye design, so I'm doing kind of a little of this reddish pink all over. And then I said I want to do all of my warm colors, so I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush out really good after I used up all that red. And I'm going to go to orange, do the same thing, get the brush wet, make sure the paint's nice and wet so it's smooth when I go to paint. And more. And I'm going to keep doing this until all of the inside of my leaf is completely full. The black crayon really gives you a nice edge or outline so you can stay inside the lines. But if you stuck with pencil, not a problem. I don't like to outline with black marker a lot when I'm doing watercolor because you'll notice it does pick up that marker and it'll kind of like get soggy and bleed all over your paper. So we really don't want that. So crayon's really nice. It's got that waxy finish and it keeps that watercolor where it's supposed to be. Keep going. I'm almost ready for my last warm color. I'm saving a little room up at the top of my leaf. Move a little quicker. You take your time though, and again, if you have watercolor, it's not a huge deal. Find something else to add color with. So I'm about ready for that yellow. I'm going to make sure all the orange is out of my brush. Clean it off really good in the water. My water's still pretty clean at this point because I'm not just cleaning off all the paint on my brush. I'm making sure it's on my paper first and then clean out the rest that's there. You'll also notice my colors are not mixed up. They're still nice and clean. And there's still plenty of color there to do more paintings. And I even worked my darkest warm color to my lightest. If it helps you, if you're not very good at cleaning your brush out yet, you could have started with yellow and worked up to orange. I'm going to go back and blend or overlap other colors you can. We'll use that yellow. I'm almost ready to do the background. The background of my leaf, I'll be adding cool colors. In my cool colors again, I have my purple, my blue, and my green. Go ahead and flip that over. My cool colors. I'm making sure my brush is cleaned out again. Really rinse it off. And I'm going to start with green this time. My brush is clean. I dunked it back in the water. Now I can do the outside or background of my leaf. If you used a bigger piece of paper, you might want to use a bigger brush. If you have an itty bitty leaf or an itty bitty paper, use a smaller brush. Really get along those edges. Kind of get some on the top and on the bottom, so when I go to switch to my next cool color, I have a nice variety all around my paper. And you'll notice too, I have a paper underneath my watercolor paper. That could be anything like a scrap piece of paper or cardboard or newspaper. That just makes it so that when I go to clean up, if I did get anything on the table, I had that paper there that caught all that color, and it makes it a little easier for cleanup. Keep going, get as much as I can. I'm about ready to switch to my next cool color, and that cool color this time is going to be blue. I'm going to go ahead and do blue next. My stuff out of the way. I used up all that paint. Look, there's nothing left in my brush. I can dunk my brush, clean it up a little better. I also like to do, if your brush is really big and you have a lot of water, it's dripping a lot, if you dip and slide on the side, you'll get all that extra paint out of there. I'm going to start working in my blues. And blend those in. Again, if you want to make like more of a pattern in the background, if you don't like your colors blending or mixing together, you could do like stripes or a shape in the background. Or maybe you could do blue on the top, green in the middle, purple on the bottom. I kind of like how it looks blended together. As you can see, I'm starting to run out of room. My cool colors are really filling up that background. So I'm almost ready to start adding in that purple. I saved purple for last because it is pretty dark. And I always recommend, if you are painting with something like black too, to save it for last so that your water stays clean, your brush stays clean, and your paint palette stays nice and clean. I'm going to use up all that blue on my brush now, so I can't see it anymore. I'm not pressing too hard, not making Mr. Brushy Brush's hair messy. And I'm going to start dunking it into purple, my last cool color. I'll kind of add a little bit all around that leaf and fill in the last of those white spots. Don't want any white space left on this painting. Those edges until it's all blended and full. And there we have our warm and our cool color leaf. Thanks for joining us today. I can't wait to see all of your awesome art.